Hello guys, greetings from Kharkov, Ukraine. It's Monday and Cupids are on duty, and today I have opened YouTube and I have seen so many new comments below our videos, but I thought it will be like not much of fun to reply all those comments alone, so I have decided to ask our beautiful executive director Katerina to actually help me answer some of your comments below our videos. Katerina hasn't checked your comments yet, so it will be a surprise to her. So guys, let's do it. Okay, I have pre-selected some tricky ones for you. Are you ready to eat?
I hope so.
So the first one. How do you define beauty? I know that beauty is different from everyone. It is written so, for everyone, I guess. But in general, what is it? Everyone just looks the same to me. Also, what is post-marriage life like with a Ukrainian lady? Like, what should I expect afterwards? And do I have to share a family budget? Do I need to ask for permissions to do almost everything, like spending money on a car, hobbies, or going out with friends, etc.? I always see video with the pre-dating and pre-marriage stuff, but nothing post-marriage. I want to have an idea of what I'm really getting myself into before I jump into the pool head first.
Interesting comment. First of all, I want to say that I don't think that this guy was very honest with us, because it's impossible that everyone look the same for you. It's absolutely impossible. All of us, we have our own understanding of beauty. There is no universal understanding that absolutely the same in all countries, in all cultures. Of course, it's inside of us. We have our own, I don't know how to say, taste, preferences, about people, we have our own understanding of beauty, about males, females, and it's absolutely fine that...
Have you said males?
Males.
You have beautiful nails.
Thank you. No, males, females, and yes, it will, and males, of course, too. So there is no understanding of beauty that will be absolutely the same for every person. It will be standard. It's impossible to say like that. If you think that this person is beautiful, then it is beautiful, because you know, there's no person that we can say that he or she is not beautiful at all.
Beauty is not the eye of the beholder.
Of course, so it's absolutely different for everyone.
It is tricky that he's asking, like, do I have to ask to buy a car? It is called family. Like, you know, when you are married, you kind of do the budgeting. You can't just go and buy a fancy car. You have to think about money for school for your kids. So yes, when you are in relationship, in committed relationship, you live together, you kind of have to have a common budget. Of course, there are couples, not very common in Ukraine, I would say, when, for example, what he earns is his, what she earns is hers, and then they pay 50-50 or whatever for like water, for electricity, for internet. But in general, when you are in a relationship, you are married, yes, you can't just go and do things on your own. You plan to do things. It doesn't mean that you have to do everything together, but it is crazy not to tell, for example, your husband or wife that, hey, I'm just going out. Of course, home where you will go, because your better half will worry about you.
Yes, and but don't mix your wife with your mother. You can't ask her, can I go with my friends to play bowling? Or don't you mind if I do so? You're an adult, she's an adult, you have healthy relationship, and of course you discuss with each other your plans, but don't make her your mother. Don't ask if you can do something, just share with each other.
There is this wonderful book by Amar Levine called Attached, and I strongly recommend it. I think I will do a separate video about this book, and they talk there about this avoidance style of attachment for adults. When the gentleman or lady wants to have a relationship, but he or she finds reasons, for example, oh, that person is just not the one, or for example, like here, why should I date someone if I will have to like compromise on a budget? If I can't just go and buy a fancy car. Well, maybe if you are an Elon Musk or you're like a Zuckerberg and buying a car is similar to like buying a cup of coffee, yes, maybe then you don't have to ask. But people who live on this planet, the majority of people who are like middle class or slightly below, or like an upper middle class, yes, like buying a car, it's a big sin. And buying a sofa, like you're going to look at that sofa together, use it together, so of course you have to go and choose the color together. So in that book, it is so perfectly written about this avoidant type of adult attachment, and I think this is the case here. Like, why should I have a wife or a girlfriend if I will have to ask her before buying a car? With this attitude, it will be very hard for you to build relationship and to meet someone. So it would be nice to talk to a psychologist or to a dating coach before you start dating, because you have to change your attitude. It is not healthy. Okay, Katya, are you ready for the next one?
I hope so.
They tell you to choose a woman who has kids because she can be the one or the love of your life, but now they can't choose a man with kids because somehow you can't be the love of their lives. I smell double standards. Gentlemen, the reason why it never mattered if men had kids is because women never had to care of them due to the fact that most women stay with the kids after separation, versus a woman, we men have to take in their kids, take care of them, protect them, provide, teach them, and with the kids to do that they can like you, because if they don't, guess what? That's the determining factor of whether she's going to be with you or not. Women do not go through such requirements, efforts, or obstacles. And he's talking about double standards.
Yes, double standards. I didn't understand the main idea in general. It was like different thoughts together.
He claims guys who have kids are more appealing than women who have kids. Because when a guy has children, pretty much the children are the responsibility of his ex.
I understood. You know, it's first of all, really, it's double standard in this opinion, because why can we say that a man that has children, he's more appealing than a lady?
He's paying for those kids'
yes,
education. So if you have children, if a man has children, you will be less appealing for ladies who don't have kids. That's reality. If she can choose between dating a man who doesn't have children and dating a man who has kids, of course, every woman understands that it will be easier to date someone who doesn't have kids. Because, first of all, many women, they want to have this romantic experience of giving a gentleman his first child and not his third or fourth child. And also, every woman understands that even if kids stay most of the time with their mother, it doesn't mean that father is absent. If father is absent, he's a bad father. Right now we are working with a client and kids live with him, so people can have different custodies. It's not like you have to choose a woman who has kids, but if a gentleman has 2 kids that spend like 50% of time with him or even 30% of time with him, then of course it will be logical to date a lady who is also a parent, because then it will be easier for her to understand the dynamics in the family. If the lady doesn't have kids on her own and the gentleman has 2, guess what? It will be very complicated for her to understand why he has to be at that baseball game, or why, for example, kids do not accept her. So it's just this logic. When we take a client over, we try to understand among which group of ladies he will be popular for the right reasons, which ladies are looking for his type. And a gentleman who has 2 small kids living with him, girls who are younger and don't have kids on their own, they don't want to date him, and you can understand why. It doesn't mean that if the gentleman doesn't have kids of his own, he has to date a single mother, but in certain age groups, if the gentleman is in his 40s, then of course the chances are higher that he will meet a lady who has been in relationship already, and probably she has kids because of the certain age group.
Of course, it depends on it.
So it's just statistic. Another one. Asking to place your hand on her is an insecure move, and I would never ask. It's up to you to make a good judgment call and know we can do something without it being a problem.
Again, please.
So pretty much the gentleman is saying that to ask a lady before he can touch her, like, can I hold your hand or can I hug you, that it means he is insecure if he is asking. It was below our video where Alessia and myself talked about sex discussion.
First of all, when you are going to meet a person from another culture, you have to understand that every culture has its own differences, its own features, and it's also connected with touches, with communicating between people. And in general, in our culture, it's true. Our clients always ask us about it before the dates and after the first date. When it is appropriate, how, for example, how people can greet each other when they meet, when it is appropriate to take your hand. Of course, all people are unique. Of course, everyone has his own preferences. But in general, in our culture, we are not so fast in it. If, for example, you are meeting a lady for the first time and you are going to kiss her on the cheek, first of all, she will not understand it, and she will not be ready. She will be shocked in first minutes. And this touch, you know, it has to be appropriate and in appropriate moment. Don't be too fast with it. If you're going to build relationship with a lady, if you have serious intentions, you will have time for it, and just don't be in a hurry and don't push her from you with some very fast actions. What is...
I would say I would like it if, for example, I go out, I just try to imagine it that I'm going out with someone and it is our first or second date and he's asking, like, can I hold your hand?
Yes.
I would think that it is thoughtful.
Absolutely.
It's definitely better than grabbing a hand.
Yes, it's better to ask because we all understand that different views, different cultures, and if another person is asking me, can I do that? Can I say that? Can I ask you about that? It is better than to do it without any asking.
Especially during first days. Later on, when you know each other and you know, for example, a comfort zone of each other, then you know that you can, for example, hug a person or kiss a person in public, because some people like this public display of affection. Other people are against it. I think it is better to ask a lady than to make you feel uncomfortable and to ruin the impression. Katerina, I have a tricky one for you. Are you ready?
I hope so.
So, I know you mainly deal with men, but I find generally men have a far more realistic standards for women compared to the standards women put on men these days. Nothing much a man can do about how tall he is. Every person who works with gentlemen, can you tell that they have realistic expectations?
Oh my God, you can't even imagine what kind of requests sometimes we receive.
How about today?
Today was a very interesting situation when the guy who is in his 70s,
78,
yes, he asked what are his chances to date 25 years old lady.
And he said that he doesn't mind it if she wants to have a kid. So he can let his granddaughter have a grandchild, like 78, and he's not Hugh Hefner.
Yes, he's looking well, absolutely well for his age. He's active. I think that he has very, you know, interesting thoughts. He is a very smart person.
78 and 25.
Yeah. It's when they are going somewhere, how people will react, how he feels near her, how she feels near him.
I feel scared to call a 25-year-old girl to suggest her a date with our 37-year-old client.
We just will lose her.
Yeah, I kind of can hear that 37, like really, she's like 25. 37 is like way too old. Svetlana, like, are you nuts? Are you crazy? What are you suggesting me? So 78.
Even if you are in a very good form, even you are healthy, but anyway, it's absolutely different generations. It's not even father and daughter, it's grandfather and granddaughter. It's difficult to even to imagine, because I'm sure that the same people, when they see such couples outside, they also will feel uncomfortable. But they never put it on themselves.
They can think, poor girl, he must be very rich and she must be so desperate. Oh, like really? So men having realistic expectations? Hell no. And if we are talking about the looks, do you remember this very attractive young gentleman who wanted to date a supermodel, who is very down to earth? She looks like a Victoria's Secret angel before all this body positive. So like Victoria's Secret angel from the 90s, very young, very attractive, very smart, with a very good career, and she has to pay for herself.
And love him for his soul.
So does it sound realistic? He's a handsome young gentleman, but really, why should she choose him? First of all, girls with this type of looks, like tall, very athletic, slim, who take really good care of their looks, because we all know that, yes, beauty needs money. If you have to work 2 shifts, you can't get your beauty sleep. As simple as that. Why should she choose someone and to pay for herself and better for himself? So it's crazy. Sometimes gentlemen surprise us, sometimes every day they surprise us with such unrealistic expectations. One gentleman has called me, we were filming the video with Olesya. He is in his 60s, a Russian-speaking man living in the US, and he asked, can he meet a lady in her 30s because he wanted to have a child, better in her 20s, but he doesn't want to marry officially because his last divorce costed him a lot. So a girl who has to be like 30 years younger than he is, and he won't put a ring on her finger. How can I even think of a lady whom can I suggest it? So no, gentlemen definitely don't have more realistic expectations.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I strongly disagree with this one. Katya, I will find a tricky one for you. I hope you are ready.
I hope so.
It was below this video. Let me open it. Let me open this one. A little bit more patience. Yeah, here it is. We have many comments here. I heard that Ukrainian ladies will accept an age difference of about 15-20 years maximum, whereas in the Philippines anything goes. You can have a 65-year-old man with a 25-year-old girl. Katya, let's concentrate on Ukrainian women accepting age difference of 15-20 years. How common is it?
It's not common. Absolutely not. When you're discussing with Ukrainian lady age difference, in her mind she will think about age difference 3, 5, 6 years. It will be,
I think is most popular.
It will be really age difference for her. If you're asking, for example, a couple what age difference they have, and they're saying 10 years, already in your mind you will think that it's very rarely in Ukraine, it's not so popular to have 10 years age difference. Everything that is more than 10 years different, it's already too much. It's already a lot for Ukraine. 15 years old different, it can be, but of course it happens, I can say even not often, it's very rarely. 20 years, it's, I don't know, in people whom I know, I can't remember any couple that have 20 years age difference.
I know a few, but in those couples, gentlemen are really well off. They are really well off. They are very successful in business, and they date much younger ladies. Some are married to much younger ladies. But when we are speaking about well off, it's like they fly to vacations only in business class or private jets, and ladies walk from Prada to Louis Vuitton. So in that scenario, you kind of can understand that, of course, powerful men with money, and sometimes they are popular, like nowadays many business people are popular, so you can see them in magazines, on TV, on YouTube, at different shows, so ladies are attracted to that. But if we are talking about people like university professors in Ukraine, that's not common.
Absolutely.
Of course, it depends also on the age group. If we are talking about the age group, the lady is 45 and he is 55, it's more likely. Because we did multiple videos with Alessia about it. They went through similar experiences in life. Probably they faced divorces, have grown up kids. But if we are talking about the girl who is 25 and the guy who is 40, they are on such a different level. 25, she's like 2-3 years after the university. Pretty much she's still living with her parents or with a roommate. And he's 40, he wants to settle down and he wants to have kids within the next 2 years. While she wants to build a career, study photography, travel the world, save the planet, etc. Think of yourself when you were 25. So telling that Ukrainian women easily accept the age gap of 15-20 years? No. We have introduced couple with such an age difference. I have some photos on the wall in our office, but these are unique couples, and in the majority of those couples, the age gap just happened. The gentleman was looking for someone 7-10 years younger, but he ended up marrying a girl who was 15 years younger. But it was never his main goal to marry someone 15 or 20 years younger. You don't marry the age. You don't date the age. You date a person. So, no, it's not common. Katya, you will like this one. So the gentleman writes, and I will show you his photo. Madam Psychologist, sometimes less is more, so he's addressing this to Alessia. I really do think you are displaying far too much naked flesh of your chest, and gravity has started to have a downward effect, if you follow what I mean. So I'm replying him that you don't like V-line dresses. Why? He replies, I love these dresses, but only when worn by younger women with firm breasts. That may sound sexist, but it's just a fact of life. Sorry to point out the realities of not being a 20-something babe anymore. Writes a guy who is...
Thank you for being so polite with us and opening for us the reality. We never knew it before you told us about it.
She could have been your daughter, you know.
Oh.
I remember this joke. I'm sure you have seen it on Facebook. It's a popular joke in Russian language, and they have this picture and an old man staying in the metro next to a very young girl who's sitting and reading a magazine. And then in the speech bubble, it is written like his thoughts that, oh, she's so hot, so sexy, I would really love to get naked with her. And then the next picture, she looks up and said, oh, please sit up. Because in Ukraine, you have to give the seat to old people. So she sees this funny grandpa and she gives him her seat so that he can feel comfortable. So I was thinking about this joke when I was reading this comment. You are not even on the radar of girls who are in their 20s, 30s and 40s. It will be hard for you to win one. The gentleman on the photo looks like he's in his 60s, I guess.
Yeah, late 60s, I think.
Late 60s or
but,
60s.
You know, like when someone's saying something offensive about our Alessia, it's the same like about us. I feel I don't like it. I don't like such comments.
It's funny because in his 60s, like it will be hard for him to win a lady in her 40s because she will tell
extremely difficult.
He's an old man, and he's given critique to a girl in her early 30s because she's not 20-something baby anymore.
Why he's thinking that she wants to be a 20
oh
years baby? But. You know, everyone who is watching this video, who watched it, he will understand.
I once was in the restaurant, I was having lunch, so it's a lunch place, and I'm typing as an article, and I hear two males are discussing women, and one is telling that, oh, her breasts are not big enough, like, look at her, I don't like her hair. And I turn around, and they look like they're 16 or 17, like with severe acne. And they haven't even grown up to look like young men. They look like teenagers, they are. And they are discussing women. And I look at them, and my first thought was like, maybe in 10 years after you get rid of that acne, you grow, and because they are in this growth spurt, and you know, they have long arms, legs, and are still not looking like a human being, but like teenagers, and they are critiquing women.
But I'm sure that if the same moment this lady will come to their table and speak with them, they will all be lost and will never say any word to her because she will be too beautiful and too gorgeous to them. It's just talk and discuss. And
well, we all can be very brave when nobody is listening, when you can hide behind the screen. But it's so sad. How can people comment things like that? And Katya, I will prepare one more for you. It's down here. Let me find this. It's about Filipinas. Here is the new one. I wanted to share it with you. The guy critiquing Alessia's clothes.
It's very important not to listen to the topic and to think about clothes. We are not a fashion blog, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Are you sitting?
I hope so.
Now remember, the Philippines were a colony of the United States for over 50 years, and the US had a major naval base there from 1945 till 1992. This is why a lot of men go to the Philippines to find wives. It just like your country was influenced by the USSR, the Philippines were influenced by the United States. I have written that our country was actually the part of the USSR.
Yes.
So it's like three sisters, Belarus, Ukraine and Russia, so they have formed one country, the gentleman writes. And so was the Philippines. It was part of the USA. He has written that it was a colony.
It's different type.
He thinks that Ukraine was the colony of the USSR.
In my opinion, every person, before he or she is making any comment about history, geography, anything, first at least read about it.
Google, nowadays
Google,
it's so easy.
Wikipedia. Everything. Just read. Read not to look funny, not to look ridiculous. Just read at least some information before you put such comment. Because it's the same like to say that one state, for example, California in the USA and the other part of USA, it is influenced, that California is influenced by USA, it is a colonia of USA. The same was in USSR. There were different parts, different countries that united into one big country at that moment, USSR.
The language is the same. They all speak Russian language. Of course, there is Ukrainian language in Ukraine, in the western part, but the country, it was one big country. And before that, it was Russian Empire, and Ukraine was part of that. So to tell that it was a colony, to compare Ukraine to the colony of the USSR, I had to do the double take and to read it twice.
And you know what is also important? People have to understand that Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, was the capital of Rus. Yes, Kiev Rus. It's the first state on base of Kiev Rus, Russian Empire, and everything was built. And the capital of it, first capital, was Kiev, Ukrainian city. So
our city, Kharkov, was the capital of Soviet Ukraine for a few years before they have moved it back to Kiev. So you can't compare it. And the level of education of Ukraine, it's like, I don't know, right now people will say that, okay, Great Britain, like think about Commonwealth, how many countries are members of the Commonwealth, because there were so many colonies of British Empire, and now we will claim these countries in Africa. They were influenced. It's so sad. People know very little about Ukraine. I think this is why we do this blog, to educate people not only about international dating, but also about our country.
I hope we will not start doing historical or geographical videos just to make such people understanding the difference between countries, between colonies.
I will read one more to you and we'll wrap it up. So the gentleman writes, this is one where Alessia and myself, we have watched the video about speed dating events in Philippines. So that company has stores in Kharkov too. You don't need to travel far to go check them out. They are coming to Kharkov in July. On their website there are pictures of events in Ukraine. Seems that some young women are ready to date much older men in Ukraine, go crash their event and make a video about it.
It's advertisement. What is it? They can try, they can go and see what happens here.
In every country, there will be girls who travel to big cities from small towns. They don't have an education, and maybe these are students who don't have full scholarship, and they don't have enough time to get part-time jobs because they study very hard. And if there is an event where they offer free food, they go there to eat. It doesn't mean that these events are popular. Like Katerina, like we work in the dating industry, but among your friends, do you know anyone who has ever attended a speed dating event, an international speed dating event?
No, I don't know anyone.
They are so niche, and people who attend, first of all, they don't boast about it, I think. And also they are like very not popular, and also don't mix partying with dating. Even if some ladies attend, for example, if she's 20 and men they are in their 50s, it doesn't mean that she wants to marry those guys and to have their babies. Maybe she just wants free champagne.
I remember not so long ago we had such speed dating events when the guys from one exact country, I will not say from which country, came there, and very young ladies went on these events because the most important thing about that was that all the ladies, every lady that attended received an iPhone. Remember?
Later on, and it was a big scandal because it turned out that these girls, they were models from the model agency, and many of them were underage. So parents have crashed that event because it was announced that girls will take part in the runway show, and they were brought to a very expensive resort, luxury resort, and girls were really walking around in bikini, and they got those iPhones. And can you imagine it? As, for example, as a parent, I can't imagine it like my child returns back home with an iPhone and tells that she has participated in the runway show and she got an iPhone as a gift. So of course, parents were furious. But I'm sure they got pretty pictures. Foreign men sitting there, very young girls wearing bikini,
very beautiful,
walking around, models. I hope they will they will find and charge the owner of that model agency, because that's a school for kids. Like most of kids were underage. So no, such events are not popular in Ukraine. Speed dating, like the format of speed dating, is not very popular. We have some local speed dating. I have seen some advertisement on Instagram, but I don't think it is a scene in Ukraine. Like, have any of your friends ever attended any speed dating events?
At least I don't know about that. Maybe someone, but nobody shared with this experience.
Because sometimes people ask, like, do you do something locally? And men often ask, like, do you have something? But we don't do that. We host events for ladies, like couple up, but this is not the speed dating event, so we don't do speed dating. I think it's not a scene in Ukraine. I know that many colleagues of mine do such things before, pre-COVID, they did such things in UK or in the US, and they were quite popular for certain age groups, but I can't imagine them being popular among younger age groups, like early 20s, no. Online dating, yes, people do lots of online dating apps like Tinder, but no, not speed dating events. Guys, I hope it was helpful, and I want to thank Katerina for taking most of the questions and answering them, because really so many comments, and it takes time to answer them all. And I hope you have noticed that now we do 2 videos per week for you, not 1 video per week, but 2 videos per week. And trust me, in between scheduling dates and getting feedback from the clients, doing all the interviews, it's not that easy to do. And also we have a separate channel for ladies with videos in Russian, and we're active there as well. And also I will boast my second book. It's here. You haven't read it yet, but
not yet.
I will present it to you today, later, or I want to sign it for you specially. So yes, we have been busy. Thank you so much for watching us. Thank you so much for not forgetting to subscribe to our channel, to leave a like, and of course for your comments. We can disagree with some things that you say, especially when gentlemen in their 60s try to critique the way breast of the lady in her 30s look. It looks a bit ridiculous. So we recommend to pay attention to what we say in the video. And not to your erotic dreams. But anyway, we can't control erotic dreams of people.
It's up to you, you can have
Just don't share your erotic dreams below our videos. Thank you so much for watching our video till the end. Thank you so much for subscribing to us, for supporting us for almost 6 years. The channel is almost 6 years old. Let's make a heart. And now I will try to switch it off.